been a really good partnership. WSP has a large footprint of ag land, and so they've been able to grow the gardens to a larger capacity. And so in the summer months, of course, they've had some wonderful harvests, and WSP as an institution, with harvest, it's, feast and famine, you get a bunch at one time. And so they've been able to share some of that produce with Coyote Ridge Correction Center as well as Airway Heights Correction Center. So it's an opportunity for a site like Coyote Ridge that doesn't have any on-site gardens to have access to some of the facility grown produce. So, I know there's already been meetings and planning for next year. And the reality in this case, it's not enough to supplant what we have to purchase from outside vendors, but it does supplement the menus and just adds new items that maybe they wouldn't have access to otherwise. So that's been a really great partnership with our transportation division that works on backhauling the products through Eastern Washington.
Excuse me. Furniture brand and sales. So Department of Enterprise Services 6th floor reconfiguration was planned and executed within a short time frame. A lot of kudos across the division and this department because for the combined efforts, because it's fairly complex but well orchestrated, and with including new product as well as existing and reconfiguration of existing panel systems. So some challenges, but worked through it, and very successful. Turned out great. Major product lines brought online into CI's e-commerce platform on our website. Last quarter included metal detention tables, adjustable height surfaces, metal storage cabinet for lockers, and Navigator Air chairs in our fast fulfillment program. And we're continuing to look at what products we can add to our online catalog, just for visibility, and to share with our customers new products that are coming online. One of our major vendors provided us, unfortunately, with a cost increase that went into effect in September, and pricing for table bases, panel systems, metal storage, benching systems, and several of our seating lines were reviewed and revised, just so we made sure that we're maintaining the viable margins that are needed and provide still the best value for our customer. And furniture manufacturing, as a lot of you know from previous report outs, the furniture factory got some updated equipment in the last year. While one of the CNC machines was being delivered and a technician was on site setting it up, he identified that the manufacturer had sent us the incorrect machine, although it had the correct serial number, model number on the side of it. It didn't have the correct specs. The vendor has been great to work with. They're actually going to be shipping us out the correct CNC machine and extend the warranty by 1 year at no cost to us. The new edge bander with the return conveyor belt was installed. That was purchased in the last year, and it's up and running. And despite no advertising, the new casework product line, the cabinet work that we've developed, is getting a lot of attention. There's quotes for 9 more projects after only 2 have been completed elsewhere. And we're going to be starting to promote this more and hopefully have a display here in our showroom at CI headquarters for customers to review.
Incarcerated individual services. Over the last quarter, the team worked with the representatives from Graduated Reentry and the Community Partner Parenting Alternative Program to provide reentry food boxes to individuals who are releasing and during that blackout period where they don't have access to receiving their food maybe right away. So 230 food boxes were delivered to our reentry field offices during that first order. The food package program, it's currently active. They added about 20 new items for the holiday program that's currently ongoing. So these are temporary items that are added specifically for the holidays that typically once they're sold out, they won't be brought back, but it is a good gauge for if some of the items were very popular, it's something that could be brought back in the future. The distribution center at Monroe had several staff transitions over the last quarter. They had a new supervisor start. Both distribution centers are now fully staffed, and we have had a reduction in the vacancy rate for our incarcerated workers as well. Airway Heights Distribution Center, with the consolidation of the textiles operation, the Airway Heights Distribution Center regained some space in our warehouse area that had previously held textiles, raw materials. And so having that space back has been great in allowing for some better organization and storage of inventory. And then the package program, the team worked with the vendor Union Supply to add over 40 new products to the food package program, which launched October 1st. Prior to the October 1st launch, the program had 97% of all inventory had already been received and was ready on the shelf. So this is a good improvement to what we had previously been experiencing. So the program went quite well with the initial launch.
Perfect. Good morning. An update for laundry for the last quarter. Laundry is a pretty simple operation, dirty in and clean out, but kudos to this group across the state in regards to their focus on training with their incarcerated. In regards to that, they've not only focused on their Association for Linen Management training and those certificates with their workers, but they've also included the Making It Work trainings. And in one of the areas, they have even integrated the 7 Habits for Highly Effective People training in one of the areas that was very well received. And in that training, they did that with staff that included various staff within the facility. It's a 10 to 12 week program based on the best-selling work, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's from Stephen Covey. So it provides tools for personal and professional improvement. And like I said, it was very well received, and hoping to provide that to more workers down the road. We also completed the laundry asset transfer to DOC for all of the facilities, and that better aligns CI as a service provider, so similar to what our food service model is as far as our operations are concerned. And so we continue to focus on providing good service and consistent service within all of our laundries throughout the state. And then we'll move on to license plate update. And so we had a great celebration back in July with the Department of Licensing. We were able to celebrate 100 years of the partnership between the two agencies on producing license plates within the state and incarcerated worker training. I am also very happy to report that we are now completely caught up with the Department of Licensing and the production of standard issue license plates. And we're also getting very close to catching up the specialty and vanity plates with them as well, to be completely caught up with the Department of Licensing, and now providing an on as ordered inventory for them, and having stock on hand for them, and be back to where we had been in the past. We put a lot of effort, both agencies, into making sure that we never fall into the issue that we had before, and really applaud both groups in working together, collaborating together, and can't thank DOL enough for their patience in working with us over the last couple of years to get us to where we are now. We still continue to have ongoing training with not only our incarcerated workers, but also our staff side by side, in learning more and more about the new equipment that we installed, and really just maximizing the efficiency of that equipment and the output that we get there. But we've made a lot of strides in the last couple of years, and good to see that business now humming.
McNeil Island Stewardship, a little island that does a lot. So, continue to be working with, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for regulatory compliance as we work through decommissioning the, old fuel farm. Substantial amounts of diesel fuel have been removed from the storage tanks around the island as well. All closed tanks have been drained, and a temporary fuel holding tank was added to the marine fueling line to maintain the essential fueling operations of the marine fleet. It's mainly because the tanks within the fuel farm were not certifiable any longer and deemed unsafe. And so we've placed that temporary tank in there, and we're working on a project with capital to update that system out there for the current needs of the operation. Previously, we've talked about the large on-site septic system, and so just an update on that an engineering firm was chosen for the feasibility study to look at that and other options for treating the runoff from the wastewater treatment plant. If we're able to get that moving forward and have a plan in place, it'll be a great benefit, not only for McNeil Island, but I really feel for the South Puget Sound area in general, so. Yeah, and wonderful picture.
All right, Airway Safe Optical Program. We currently have 58 individuals that participate in the optical program at Airway Heights. They recently, last quarter, completed their third ABO, or American Board of Optometry prep class in this operation. So the class was completed actually in a shorter amount of period of time. We find that the more times that we hold these prep classes, the more individuals are engaged in the program, the learning, using the equipment to build the foundational knowledge for that program. We've also found that with each prep class, these are highly sought out certificates for them upon reentry when they're looking for work. It has limited the amount of breakage that's happened in the operation when you're building a pair of glasses. So there's some positive effects of holding these ABO prep classes for individuals. So.
For safety and risk management, in the last quarter, we were able to get Coyote Ridge taken care of in regards to the where we now have the mattress factory located in our old food factory area. At that facility, there were floor canals in that operation that needed covered, and worked with the facility maintenance there, got those covered, which now eliminates a tripping hazard there, which was very important to get that taken care of. So thank the facility for working with us to get that taken care of. Safety audits were conducted for Monroe Correctional Complex and Stafford Creek Correction Center to close out the quarter. And then we've also standardized the statewide safety bulletin boards and forklift certifications across all the operations that we have throughout the state, which is good to have that consistency. And currently we're focusing our efforts on remaining aware and safe during these wet and slippery months to make sure that we continue to stay on the safe track and keep our numbers very low, which they have been trending for the last number of months.
Moving on to service and delivery. Workload is leveled out and installation deliveries are meeting most order deadlines. Installation teams have completed 6 large projects in the last quarter, with 2 in Seattle, 1 in Vancouver, 2 in Spokane, and 1 in Olympia. Staff have just really been busy on top of new orders with tear downs, reconfigurations, consolidations of state agencies as they work to reduce office space and with the more hybrid work and telework. So we still have 2 holdover projects remaining for fiscal year 2024 that were scheduled for November. Several more consolidation projects are left to be completed by the end of the year, and Alan Phelps is in the room with us today. Kudos to Alan, just because I know it's a high focus for him and goal. We had 8 new forklift certificates issued in September. And one thing that Alan and his team does is really ensure that anybody that wants a forklift certificate prior to releasing has an opportunity to earn that. So nice job, Alan. Appreciate it.
For our textiles area, by way of update, we went through a textiles realignment and consolidation, and we ended up closing our operation at the Women's Correction Center, where we had embroidery and screen printing there, and moved that to Airway Heights, and then also did end up consolidating one of our areas at Airway Heights. We still do have a textiles operation there. But we ended up consolidating down to where we have Shelton and Coyote Ridge, and also our consolidated distribution center here, Tumwater. And what it did was, helped reduce our operational footprint and also our operational costs. We took the machinery from those areas and were able to redistribute that equipment and have our best equipment within our operations, and also not have to make any expenditures for this year towards making any new purchases for machinery, which was a good step right now. Airway Heights was able to set up our 12-head and 6-head embroidery machines and then started producing garments. They did that within 2 days of having everything installed and getting trained, and they haven't looked back since. Shelton, they've produced samples of many items out there, and they've been producing and doing a great job out there. And Coyote Ridge, I believe they're at capacity at this point, and have been producing a number of items, including safety vests. They have streamlined and re-engineered safety vests there to help streamline the production on those and reduce costs. And so everybody's doing a really excellent job in our textiles areas, and continuing to look for new opportunities and new ways to expand our reach on who we can work with as far as the different, not only within the state agencies, but counties and cities as well.
Last quarter, on September 24th and 25th, we had a mock interview event at Airway Heights. This was the first mock interview event that we had in a prison in about 5 years. So we were very excited to bring that back inside. There were 25 incarcerated workers who participated over the course of the 2 days. Lots of guests, volunteers from the local community as well participated. They were given tours of the CI operations and H foyer, including optical, commissary, and food manufacturing. So it's a great event. Also, just a side note, we had another mock interview event just this week here at CI headquarters at Tumwater. I believe 9 individuals participated in this event, and we had lots of volunteers from the local community, including thank you to advisory committee member Christina Davis for participating. It was her feedback during the session was really well received by everyone, and just an excellent day. Also last quarter, and actually it's the image you see on the screen, these we're calling them shop boards, were hand delivered to all CI shops. So every shop now has a board that provides a visual representation of sort of the path that our workers will want to follow from the different types of activities they need to have in place prior to release. what you're seeing there is an individual signing up for a class, so there'll be, different papers that'll be posted to the board that have the opportunity to sign up for Making It Work or mock interviews if the event is coming to them soon, financial literacy courses. The boards also provide an image. You can kind of see it a little bit on the left side next to the number 2. It's an image of the workforce development specialist assigned to that specific facility, so they can put a picture to the name. And then it provides a success story. So the male facilities have this board, the female facilities, it's the same board, but the success story is a female success story. So, well, those were well received. Every time the team went and dropped them off, like I said, it was an in-person drop off. So typically they were able to talk to the workers as they were receiving the board and getting ready to post it up, to talk about what services workforce development has to offer, how to contact them, and just provide some more, generate some more interest in individuals coming to work with a workforce development specialist while they're still working at NCI, and then once they release, working with an employment services specialist in planning and prep for that as well.
And Lindsay, with that, just want to make it clear too with the advisory committee members. So our focus within correctional industries is preparing them for the workforce. So really, as you indicated, that this board, the intent of this is the pathway for post-release employment. So, focusing on resume building, classes such as, Making It Work, Job Hunter series, participating in the mock interviews. Obviously, there's a lot of additional reentry planning that an individual goes through as they move towards their release. But the reentry division and classification counselors work on some of those other aspects such as housing and their IRP, the individual reentry plan. But this board is great because it really focuses them on the trajectory for post-release employment, and that's the focus.
Correct. And then lastly, the workforce development manager and our brand admission administrator were able to attend the CPTS, so that's the Community Partnership for Transition Solutions Summer Institute back in July. And it was a great networking event, came away with lots of helpful information about resources, innovative programs, and made a lot of really great connections statewide from that event as well.
Okay, before we jump into the annual report, I do want to go back in terms of the September meetings minutes and just take a vote. So I know we got an approval for the minutes from board advisory committee member Chris Elwell and a second motion from Terry Fortner. But for the advisory committee members, do we have a vote for all that are in favor of approving the September minutes? Please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay, perfect. So we've officially approved the September meeting minutes. Okay, and I also recognize we're getting very close to the open forum time, but we'll kind of get started talking about our end of year reporting, and then we will pause here in just a few minutes for the open public forum.
Yeah. Nope, I need to stop.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna talk first about the fact sheet. So, to our advisory committee members, you would have received this, in your email packet. So the facts sheet was updated for fiscal year 2024. We do this every year. The numbers have changed. Our incarcerated participants worked a total of 2.6 million programming hours over that fiscal year. We issued 349 employment-based certifications, sorry about that, over the fiscal year, and contributed 68.3 million to the local economy through purchases from local suppliers and then our staff salaries. For community employment services, the individuals are earning an average of $19.93 per hour. Our highest current wage, so the wage of a current active participant in the CES program is $48 per hour. We have had individuals making more than that, but they're past their sort of 3 years that they've been with the program. So we're looking at just the current group of individuals with the highest wage being 48. It takes about an average of 22 days for community employment services participants to find work. About $1.5 million was contributed by incarcerated workers to pay for financial obligations such as court-ordered fines, child support, victim restitution. And about $355,000 was submitted, or deposited rather, into incarcerated workers' savings accounts from their earnings.
And
I'm not sure. I have a quick question on the community employment services. What is that program? Is everybody who is released going through that program on the way?
It's voluntary, so anyone who has worked post CI has the opportunity to work with our community employment specialists. So they reach out typically prior to release and start engaging with her, talking about planning. And then once they release, then she's helping them with what resources are available in the local community where they release to, whether that's connecting them with work source locations, what kind of other opportunities they might have in their area, helping them prepare for interviews, that kind of thing. They'll work with employers directly. If we've got employers that we know are looking for a certain skill set and we know we have somebody releasing soon, that kind of connection is also occurring from this service.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And one thing to, again, just bring attention to on the back of, on page 2 or on the back of the fact sheet. So, you see a pie chart there that, is titled Paying Their Way. The, 20%, legal financial obligations, 5% crime victims compensation, cost of incarceration, 10% mandatory savings account. So all of those figures, again, I just want to point out that those are all in statute. It's in RCW that if you're a class 2, so a correctional industries, voluntary incarcerated worker, that depending on if you have all of those, up to about 90% of their pay can be deducted from their paycheck. And so over the year, there has been some tough discrepancies, and it's one of those challenges that individuals wrestle with, because if they work in class 3 with the prison, such as like a porter or cleaning, it's a much less deduction rate. And again, it's all in statute, what those deduction structures are. And again, not every individual is the same. We don't have access, we being CI employees don't have access to tell an individual what will be deducted from their pay. Because again, some people have child support, some people don't, some people have LFOs, some people don't. And we are the only area that does take that 10% mandatory savings. Again, but that is money that they get, when they release, and they're in statute, it does say for those that are life without parole, they don't have that deduction taken out of their pay. So I just wanted to make that mention because I'm not sure if everybody on the advisory committee was aware of that, but that is something that individuals wrestle with of how much they may earn with deductions. Now, granted, those deductions are paying their own, LFOs and things like that, but sometimes it's a challenge of how much they need in the moment. So
on this page, then the 355,000 represent the 10%.
correct.
Savings, and then, so the net earnings then would be what they take home, the 20% net earnings, or is that something different?
Yeah, so that would be if somebody had all of those deductions, about 20% would be their earnings. So the 355,000, yeah, so that's 10%. So quick math, you could say, well, then CI paid out $3.3 million to incarcerated individuals in terms of pay. So yeah, but 355 went into their own individual 10% savings accounts. So it is time for the public open forum. So I want to just pause here and see if we don't have anybody here in the room from the public. Do we have anybody online that wants to raise their hand and has a question for anybody on the advisory committee? Not seeing any hands. We'll give it another minute here. And maybe if anybody's on the line and you don't have the capability to click the button, feel free to speak up if you have any questions. Okay, not seeing any hands or hearing any questions. Please notate in the minutes that we do not have anybody on the line for the open public forum session. Okay, so, any other questions from the advisory committee on the, fact sheet? Any questions about any of the data? Okay, Lindsay?
Perfect. All right, moving on, you would have received in your packet the annual report. So I'm gonna go through that. I'm not gonna read everything out to you, but just go through it, highlight some of the stories. Really excited this year. We were back to a much fuller, robust annual report. It'd been a little bit light following COVID and just various challenges. So lots of great information here to share this year. Starting out with page 4, we have a message from Assistant Secretary Danielle Armbruster and Director Jamie Dolan. We highlight our mission, vision, and core values. Page 6, we have a year in review. So just a quick summary of some of the highlights that we experienced over fiscal year 2024. We highlight our relaunch of our mock interview events, starting with our event last May at CI headquarters in Tumwater.
Lindsay, one pause on the go back, just on the year in review. It is highlighted on here, and I wanted to share this in particular with the advisory committee that the stat that you have included here, the 30% increase in commissary order values, that really is attributed to the result of the expanded purchasing power by the incarcerated population. So there was Senate Bill 5131 that went into effect, which basically states that prior to that, if a family member sent in money to their their loved one, a friend or a family member, depending on their deduction structure that we talked about earlier, that's written in statute, that $100 could have really only become $30 that individual could then spend on commissary. But the Senate Bill 5131 created a commissary sub-account, which basically states that $100 truly is $100, that there's no deductions taken out of that. So as a result of that legislation that passed, we've truly seen a 30% increase in commissary spending because friends and families and individuals' dollars are going farther. So again, in the prior deductions, we're paying off the individual's debt obligation. So it's not that the department was getting that funding, it was the individual's debt obligations, even though the money was maybe intended for commissary. So just wanted to share that specifically.
Perfect, thank you. Also on that note, the increase in volume that the commissary has seen has been, they've handled it very well. Everything continues to run absolutely smoothly with that team, and there hasn't been any delays or anything like that due to increased in the volume. Okay, so page 8 and 9, we're highlighting some of our divisions or some of our teams. Page 8, we're highlighting the partnership with the agency, with DOC, in creating some gender responsive clothing. Very exciting work being done in that team. On page 9, and if you have the PDF version, I highly encourage you to click on the link and go watch the video on YouTube for the development of the secretary's table. So it was done in partnership with CI Furniture Factory, the WCCW, Women's Prison, CI AutoCAD group, to create this really large, very nice conference table in the secretary's conference room. So,
And then also our individuals from Cedar Creek got to be a part of
And
the
then-
delivery and installation
Correct.
process. So it really tapped into 3 areas of the incarcerated workers working on this one project. And obviously, that's how many of our furniture product or our furniture jobs go, is that it's truly a collaboration from the women's prison that's doing the designing, from the men's facility, Stafford Creek, that's doing the production aspect, and then our individuals that work here at CI headquarters doing the installation of it, so.
On page 10, we are highlighting, some more furniture projects. So we collaborated with, the furniture team collaborated with Department of Licensing on multiple large projects rather. So from account executives to like Jamie was talking about, it would have been something that went all the way from WCCW, to Stafford Creek and the individuals in the furniture factory to, here at Tumwater, where individuals from Cedar Creek would have been out on the install and delivery of these projects. Page 11, we're highlighting some of our staff achievements. So we had our 2023 annual awards are featured here. We have 3 individual awards. We have the Louis Thoreau Customer Service Award, which was given to Taylor Wood, who is the asset manager here at CI headquarters in Tumwater. We have a Commitment to Quality Award, which was given to package program manager Brett Blair from Monroe. And then we have the Rising Star Individual Award given to Buffy Henson, who is an account executive here at CI headquarters in Tumwater, and also a formerly incarcerated success story. And then we had our Team of the Year award was given to the Washington State Penitentiary Food Service Team. So there's a very, very long list of individuals who are part of that team. Page 12 and 13, we're highlighting another collaboration with the agency. The Wenatchee Valley Reentry Center was opened during fiscal year 2024, and CI played a big role in creating a inviting and positive living area. So from the bedrooms to the common living spaces, everything is meant to really feel comfortable and more home-like than maybe has previously been in areas such as this. So great project that involved, again, like we've previously talked about, all of the phases of furniture from design to installation. The next several pages, we're featuring 3 success stories. We have Christopher, Trent, and Pam. Each of their success stories is unique and interesting, and we're just so proud to be able to highlight their achievements, having played, a part of their success. We don't want to take credit for all of their success. That's on them, but for CI's role in helping them achieve success upon release. The next few pages are our financial statements. So we have our assets, our liabilities and net assets, and then our cash flows. I know Todd will have a little bit later in this presentation to talk about some financials, so I won't go into these 3 pages. Then 21 is just a summary of the fact sheet, which we have already gone over. And the last, no, not quite to the last, we highlighted the partnership with the local trades unions and the pre-construction testing that is happening at the track program at WCCW in Mission Creek as well. This article specifically talks about just the longevity and of how long this partnership with the laborers union has been going on, how important it is for them to, and how valuable we find it that they come in to the facilities and test our individuals. A little article on our optical shop and the opening of our showroom here at CI headquarters. A little side note, little over $30,000 in eyewear was purchased by DOC employees in fiscal year 24. So excited to see what happens there with the addition of an actual showroom where people can come and try on eyewear. We have a feature on page 24 of our mattress and textile operations. So the agency in fiscal year 24 had a very large mattress order, replacing a really significant portion of mattresses throughout the state. So that came with its own set of unique challenges from not just the manufacturing, but the shipping and all of the parts that go along with, just fulfilling this order. So the shop had some, creative solutions to the manufacturing side, worked collaboratively with the customers who were receiving this to, coordinate and schedule deliveries and everything. In the end, it was a very successful project. Then a little bit on the food service and food manufacturing groups. The food service team presented at the statewide family council in fiscal year 24. And then the food manufacturing developed a protein bar for the individuals on the fire lines with DNR. And then the last couple pages, we highlight the financial literacy classes that we launched in fiscal year 24. Again, these have been super popular with our individuals who have taken them. It really provides them with some excellent tools for planning, for being fiscally responsible with their paychecks when they're released. And then the last is what's coming up and a little bit about Reentry 2030 and what role it will play and what role CI will play in helping the agency meet the 2030 goals. Are there any questions on the annual report? Okay. All right, one more report to go through. And every year we are required by RCW 7209-100 to complete a market share evaluation. This year's evaluation considered 10 lines of businesses. So we don't include things like the license plates and the tabs. Those are only sold to Department of Licensing, so there's really not anything to compare them to. What we use to measure or what we use to classify our industries is the North American Industry Classification System, or NAICS codes, which are from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. So we map those codes with our different industries, and then we reach out to Department of Revenue, do a public disclosure request, requesting all of the gross business income data for Washington State for fiscal year 24 for each of the specific codes. They provide that information to us and we put together this evaluation. So this year we did have a consolidation of the textile shops from 5 shops to 3 shops. That's not really going to be reflected too much in this report because we still have textiles as a whole. It didn't completely shut down or anything like that. So it still exists just as a smaller footprint. This year's evaluation was very consistent with our previous market share reports. We had 8 of our 10 industries that had less than 2% market share and 2 that had 2% market share or more than 2% market share. 2% is kind of the threshold we've historically used to kind of gauge whether or not we are we're competing too much maybe with the private sector. So the 2 industries that we have that do have more than 2% are very much focused on serving DOC population. So that is food service, which is essentially solely providing service to the Department of Corrections. And then our laundry operations is the other one that's more than 2%. And it is majority providing service to Department of Corrections. There are some external customers such as Department of Natural Resources where we might be laundering fire gear, something like that from individuals coming back from fires. So for the most part, both of those are very much Department of Corrections customer operations. Our market share did decrease a little bit from 03 to 04. We went from 4.76 in fiscal year 2023, 4.76% to 4.11% in fiscal year. Sorry, this was just for food service. So it did decrease, though. It's still over that 2% threshold that we kind of measure by. The next page, we're on page 4, just a little bit of an overview of what the purpose of the report. Again, like I said, year over year, we are consistent with the outcome of the evaluation, and that we don't have a significant impact to the private sector businesses in Washington. Page 5, you'll find a list of the different lines of businesses, their specific Washington gross business income, the CI revenue, and then what that market share is. So for example, food manufacturing had a 0.113% of the market. And textiles has a nearly 5% share of the market. The next couple of pages, so pages 6 and 7, are going to have some charts and graphs. Figure 2, you're going to see that is our 5-year average. So you might notice there's some shops that you don't see on the previous page that are shown on this chart. That's because they're still within 5 years of us having closed them down. So for example, Field Crops is shown on this, and Cardboard Boxes, they're shown on this graph, but those operations are no longer in operation, but we still continue to show them on this graph until that they've passed that 5-year mark. So as you can see, food service over the last 5 years has had about a 5% market share, but again, services DOC solely. The next highest that is not over 2% is the textiles team, and then the optical lab actually has about a 1.14% share of the market. The next few figures 3 through 7, are individual businesses and what their trend line or what their last 5 years performance has been as far as market share. You'll notice food manufacturing is trending up, but again, still very, very small part of the market. Textiles is fairly flat. Furniture is very much an up and down industry. So some years we've been higher than others, but again, very small, less than 1% of the overall market. And then the last page, page 8, is just the full list of the NAICS codes that we use to produce the report. So these are all the codes which we request the data from DOR, and then calculate out the percentages. So that is all I have on this report. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Lindsay.
Let me just make a comment really quick.
Yeah.
I would just like to send a big compliment to the people of the team that produced these. These are incredible reports. They look fantastic, and they're, really easy to read. And, it's, you see a lot of annual reports that are just kind of drudgery to go through. And this one is, filled with news stories. So
Okay.
congratulations to the team. And, it's a good read.
Thank you. I will pass that along.
I shared it with my team at South Transit, because it's a lot of the work that we engage in, and it's good stuff.
Chris, we appreciate that. And, really, from our perspective, it highlights the work of our staff, but the population that we're here to serve, right? And that's our whole goal, is to highlight those programs and the work that the individuals are putting in it. And I'm just gonna share a funny story of when we took this to one of the local vendors for production of the report. The individual that was working at the print shop producing the report, when we picked him up, was basically had a very similar sentiment and was like, who has nothing to do with corrections. He's in the printing industry, but like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like he read the whole report and he wanted to go through it. And we do have one staff graphic designer, Kimberly Isham. So kudos and credit to her. But Mimi Jansen, our brand and mission administrator, who oversees workforce development and our external communications, and Lindsay oversees that team. It's a labor of love, and they really thank you for that feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so just talking about advisory committee meetings for December, or for 2025. We will be sending out calendar holds with these dates. Again, we try to avoid holiday weeks and spring breaks and and things where we can. Of course, there is a requirement that they are quarterly. So we will in the next couple weeks send out these dates to the group, but also wanted just to discuss meetings next year. So I wanted to open it up if there's any thoughts from the advisory committee members of if we want to have the agenda look differently, if there's different segments that you guys want to see, do you want us to, one thought I had, would it be great to schedule a time in the agenda that's just a open forum for advisory committee members where, because we really want to look to you guys as the subject matter experts in your various fields, whether that's, business and trends that you're seeing, tap into the resources and knowledge that you guys have of your respective industry. Betterment of the population that we serve. So just wanted to open it up for kind of a group discussion. If there was any thoughts on, ways that we can create better collaboration in 2025. And we can always connect after the meeting as well. Lauren.
I think that would be a really good idea because there are a lot of things going on in other agencies within their correctional industry divisions, and to be able to share those and to be able to tap into the community resources that we all do have.
Okay, yeah, no, that's great. And so maybe, on the agenda, maybe a 20-minute forum for advisory committee members to just dialogue back and forth. And again, we can always make adjustments as needed. But I appreciate that feedback. Thank you, Lauren. Terry?
Hi, yeah, so I just think it would be really great if, because not all of us are state agencies, some of us are community nonprofit agencies. I think it would be really great if we could have a standing item that is kind of that navigator update. And maybe creating that master list somehow, and maybe this is a subcommittee of this group, I don't know, but that master list somewhere of those resources that are available to the families of currently incarcerated individuals, but then also those who are reentering or becoming, very quickly formally incarcerated individuals, to be able to put together some sort of information based on community that they're, going back into. I don't know. I just feel like every time I'm at I was at a nonprofit showcase here in the Spokane Valley last Friday. And every time I turn around, there's a new organization that is doing something for the benefit of formerly incarcerated individuals and their families, yet they didn't realize that, we have a food, diaper, and clothing bank that is open to them Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. So I just wonder if this isn't a magical place somehow to disseminate some of that information.
Okay, yeah, no, I appreciate that. And, my mind is going, of course, one of the wonderful things about correctional industries being under the umbrella of the reentry division is we do have that connection with a lot of our other counterparts throughout the division that really focus their time on that community development resources. And so I can definitely tap into some of my counterparts and see what that looks like, some type of a where to go for information. So, yeah, that's great feedback, Terry. Thank you. Christina Davis?
Good morning, everyone. My suggestion feedback would be, how can we assist each other more in 2025? Many of you I do not know, never heard of, and I don't know what you do or what your agency does for the incarcerated or formerly incarcerated, or with reentry. Some of us may have a lot of experience that could be helpful or beneficial to each other. I would like to hear more about that. If your agency is doing something and could use some assistance, could use some volunteers, could use a facilitator in some of your events or some of the things that you're trying to launch, maybe having a spotlight in each of the meetings or maybe in an email. I don't know how it would look, Jamie, but just figuring out who's out there and how they could use our assistance being on the same committee with some of the projects that they're doing that supports the work that we all do. We all probably share some of the same captive audience, and we all know that we're probably going into a biennium where we have less money to support different things. So being more smart about how we partner and hearing about how to do that for each other would be great.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Christina. I appreciate that. Mina?
Just wanted to second what Christina said just now.
Okay, perfect.
Jamie?
Yes, Chris.
Couple things, maybe not a standing agenda item, but it would be helpful to also learn about the reentry part of this. And, talking about the reentry division and what they do and how they do it. I mean, the CES, is that right?
Yeah.
Was kind of an eye opener, and I'm just now learning about this 3 years into my term. So, kind of learning about that aspect of it might also be helpful. And then, to the previous two speakers, point, perhaps, an annual half-day retreat or something for the committee to come together and do more than, kind of just the agenda.
Yeah.
Would be helpful.
Yeah, I think it would be great to have some type of a meet and greet with the committee, just to understand, okay, so I'm, we have 3 members that represent labor. Well, what does that mean? What does that look like? How does that integrate? And, we have 3 members that represent business, right? So I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. Okay, this is really great feedback. Thank you. Okay, so we will get those dates sent out and calendar holds put on, and in addition, with this being a public meeting, we will also get these dates submitted to the state public registrar for recording with the Public Meetings Act. So, thank you. Okay, so one thing that, of course, Lindsay talked about was mock interviews. Again, she shared that just this week here on site, we hosted another mock interview fair. In collaboration with our DOC headquarters communications, they were able to put together kind of a video spotlight that just highlights the events. Again, we will keep all of the advisory committee members included on when we're hosting them and where, because I know you guys are located throughout various regions. We are planning to have the next mock interview fair at WCCW. So that'll be the first one in a women's facility. I think we're tentatively in February.
Yep, early 2025.
Yeah, early 2025. I know one of our navigators, workforce development navigators, Sebastian, he's getting ready to go out to the women's facility because it takes a lot of preparation and working with the individuals leading up to the mock interview fairs. There's resume building. They do the DES class job hunter series, just a lot of communication. And then of course, just the coordination of working with community employment or community members of getting everything scheduled. So just wanted to share the video if you haven't had a chance to watch. Computer.
Sad.
Okay. Okay, so obviously, you know, we love technology. It's great, and then at other times, can be challenging. What we're having a hard time is connecting just to the audio. What we'll do in lieu of playing the video during the meeting, we'll just send out, after the meeting, we'll send out a link to everybody. I do highly encourage you to watch the video. It just gives a glimpse into, kind of the impact that these events have on individuals. Christina, again, I know we acknowledge and thank you for being one of the participants that came this week. I know even this week there was, we have some individuals that this was their second time participating in the event. Some individuals have been through interviews in the past, some haven't. We did have an individual who was slated to participate, and then he just couldn't. He had so much anxiety, he couldn't bring himself to show up to work to participate in the event. You know what, hopefully we'll circle back around, and when we have another event and have him, and maybe we'll get him ready. So, you know, it's just part of the process, and our goal is to continue to advocate and support these types of events. So again, and one of the wonderful things about this video, that if you haven't had a chance yet to watch it, that DOC really spent a lot of time capturing the voice of the individuals going through the event. So we'll send that out after today's meeting. Okay, and then so moving into old business, I'll turn it over to Todd to talk a little bit about the financial update.
Yes, so the graphs you're looking at probably look familiar because they're what we presented in our last meeting. Unfortunately for this meeting, we don't have an update to show for the first quarter. It was recognized that a miscalculation issue with our new operating system, D365, regarding inventory valuation and cost of goods sold was affecting our bottom line reporting for our textiles division, which therefore affected our overall reporting for CI and our first quarter financials. So this delayed us putting out anything until we could come to a resolution with working with IT. We have found a solution and got that corrected. We have been able to publish our July and August financials. August just went out while we've been sitting in this meeting. I was monitoring and just got those published. And we do expect to have September out by early next week. So all that to say, when we come back together for the next meeting, we'll have the first quarter and second quarter financials to share with you. At this time, though, we do appear to have overall solid performance, and we are covering our business needs. We're being very mindful about our customer responsibilities while keeping a firm hand on our operating expenditures and our commitment still to training and developing our workers within our programs. It's not, you know, it can't be left unsaid that, you know, we're being very cognizant about, you know, the budget report that's come out. And so we're being very mindful about, you know, staying under control with our costs and how we go about doing our business and what our expenditures look like. You see it in our annual report that our operating revenues were down last year, and then we did have increased operating expenses like most businesses experienced. We'll probably see something similar this year. I think we've taken very good steps, though, over the last 5 years to shore up our overall operations and our overall businesses to at least put us in a solid position to get pretty close to break even as we continue to work through this. I think we will have a challenging year ahead, but I think we've done the things we need to at least have solid operations to continue operating an effective program. So that's the update that I have for right now, and look forward to providing again the financial results for the first half of the fiscal year when we come back together.
All right, D365, you heard Jamie kind of speak to, some of the updates where we're at in the future plan for, food manufacturing, and of course Todd, just briefly spoke on some of the, business decisions that needed to be made for raw material usage and manufacturing costs. These are major decisions for our operation, our business, because we want to make sure that we're meeting, all the state accounting requirements, cost categories for this new, software. The photo up here, it's basically what we currently have in flight, the project is working on. RF Smart, that you might have heard me speak to, the handheld scanners that are similar to what they would use in, like Amazon, scanning, receiving, processing, workflow, production type, operations, for that inventory management. And then also, NMB, which is an independent software application, that is currently in flight with, it's kind of like a parcel receiving, shipping type module that we hope the incarcerated will, get in and learn those type of new technology applications that are kind of conducive to what is out in the industries. And then also Jamie spoke to, the next quarter. Now that these business decisions are made, we can move forward with the project tasks associated with food manufacturing. So, here at the beginning of January, February, the staff will be participating in self-guided learning again, deep dive training with the project team. But it'll be more of a role-based type training. So if they work in customer service, they'll be in the system learning how to enter a sales order and more like role-based focused operating out of the system. Heavy production type training as well. So, and then also we just hit our 90-day milestone for timekeeping. So that affected 5 facilities. We recently sent out a 90-day survey with our users, our end users. These are the folks that are in the system, clocking in, clocking out, hiring workers, making sure that they're being paid. Food service and food manufacturing, those are large operations, so there's a lot of movement in and out of those operations. So at the 90-day mile mark, we had minimal discrepancies. There's needs for, staff to have auditing reports. So we're still getting that feedback from the end users to, create efficiencies with timekeeping. But it's an extensive project. Food manufacturing is the focus next. So they're going to be heavily involved in training. And then once we get through that over the next quarter, we will take a look at the remaining lines of business. I think we've already started engaging incarcerated services with, just an overview of what to expect when they start those tasks.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Vicki. With that being said, this is kind of the last of our report outs. Just wanted to turn it over to any of the advisory committee members. If there's any final questions, comments, anything you wanted to share with the group. Okay, Terry?
So first of all, thank you for a really great year and for the opportunity to participate in the mock interviews at Airway Heights Correctional Center. That was really awesome. I look forward to perhaps the opportunity to do that again next year. And thanks for all that you do as a staff. You have a lot of moving parts and the team is impressive. And as someone who's a community member and a volunteer with this group, I am always very honored with the amount of graciousness with which my questions are received and the level of professionalism with which they're answered. So I wish you all a very happy holiday season and thank you for all you do.
Very kind. Thank you, Terry. Yeah. And I do hope everybody, I know this is a busy season for everybody. I do hope everybody has a wonderful time celebrating How You So Choose and take some time in preparation for 2025. I do appreciate, again, the feedback on how we can improve these meetings next year, continuing to make them more meaningful. Because really the whole goal is the betterment of the individuals that we serve. So always open to ideas, suggestions, feedback, whether it's a connection online during these meetings or a connection in the in-between time of the quarterly meetings. I'm always open to feedback and participation where available. Obviously, we are prepping towards legislative session that begins in January. With this being a long session, I do suspect it will be a very busy, fast season for us. But we're always excited to kind of maybe see some new opportunities that might come our way towards the department. So. Reminder, we will, after the meeting, we will send out of course, all of the notes. We'll send out the links to the videos. With this being a recorded meeting, we will send out the video recording for anybody that missed part of the meeting. And again, I truly appreciate the time that you guys volunteer with these meetings and then also supporting our various activities throughout the year. I will put it out there as well that for anybody that's individual or interested in a facility tour, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have been able to conduct some tours on site for some of our advisory committee members to see some of our programs and have an opportunity to connect with some of the individuals in our programs. So that is always an open invitation. So we can coordinate schedules with that. With that being said, please notate in the minutes that it's 10:30. And the meeting is adjourned, and truly, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Yeah, thank you.